I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning. Though I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
There's something about the consistency that I have on this channel of when I cover topics like this, and that is protecting children from predatory adults. You can look at any and all videos that I've ever posted, never strayed from that. And it doesn't matter what the topic is, whether it's grooming, whether it's abuse, anything like that. And this has become so much more popular now. These types of parents and these types of actions. I'm going to play that little snippet there at the top. I'm going to play it for you now, the longer version of it, just so you can see exactly the context in which this is all happening with this parent who clearly is coaching their child to give certain types of responses.
9-year-old Kieran Clausen collects crystals. She dabbles in face paint and she loves sports. What do you play?
I did play volleyball, soccer, and I want to play basketball.
To Kieran, who's transgender, it's not about racking up victories.
I don't want to win any trophies for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
What's it about?
Having fun with your friends. Though I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning. Though I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
Now that is obviously textbook coaching on responses. Staring a hole in the side of the head of the child, mouthing the words, the exact words the child is saying, and they're saying them almost like it was completely rehearsed. And the child being just sort of not really even a part of the conversation. You know, they're just kind of like looking away and ask questions like, okay, yeah, this is what I was supposed to say. Yep, okay, yep. And then this is something that's sort of almost something that's noticeably consistent in a lot of these videos. And I have another example here of, again, a child just sort of being seemingly thrust into this conversation, thrust into this topic against their will, where they're just kind of like, yes, that, yes, sure, totally, yeah, and then being disinterested. There's a level of complete disengagement while almost an interrogation is happening. And there's another example of this I'll show you here with a mother in a change room, which, I mean, filming your child in a change room is something altogether, but pretty much almost forcing dress wearing on the child.
What makes a shirt for a boy or a girl?
Nothing.
So do you want this? You picked it out.
I do want it.
You want to wear it all the time at home, but not at school, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I don't want to get made fun of, and that's what they always do when I wear pink stuff.
I'm sorry,
But
baby.
not when I do it only on special occasions.
What makes you like dresses so much?
These.
Well, how are you going to be your innermost you when we live in a place that people think clothing belongs to particular gender? It's a trick, isn't it?
And don't all these parents look exactly the way that you thought they did? That you thought they would? Like, you can look at this mother here with the change room, and then look at these parents and the dad especially for the one in the first video. Don't they just look exactly the way that you think that they would? They sort of have these very transy appearances where it's almost as if they look that way and then they force it on these kids for them to look and think that way as well. And all it does is end up leading to is a high level of confusion and kids getting bullied, like the kid said in the one in the change room. And then there's even sadder ones where you have kids who literally have no idea who they are. That's not something that's not normal, because kids are always kind of exploring themselves and who they are for a long time. And usually from the moment they're born and they get used to their surroundings, really up until, through college. Jesus. It's hard to expect people that are like in college to really know who they are. But it gets sadder when there's this level of self-awareness.
You a boy or you a girl?
I don't know who I am.
You don't know who you are?
The whole I don't know who I am, with the camera thrown in your face, being like, are you a boy or are you a girl? Are you a boy? Are you a boy? It's always these questions that are like leading the witness type of questions, where it's never, you were born a girl, so you're a girl, right? And then if you said that, guaranteed they go, well, yeah. But then you go, you're a boy, right? Are you a boy? You think this is the first time they've had this conversation? You think this is the first time this happened, that she just put the camera up? She's like, oh, we're just going to have a random TikTok video made, and I'm just going to come across this amazing moment of my 6-year-old being so profound. No, this is all completely and utterly set up, because this is always about the parents more so than it is about the kids. That's the big reality of it. And I'll show you even right here. Here's going back to the first video, how performative these parents really are. You can check this out.
It's tough. It's hard to do everything that you can to support your child, and then have lawmakers come in who don't know anything and say that you're doing the wrong thing for your child. It's really hard.
It's very personal. The lawmakers are attacking one of the smallest minorities that we have.
See that? The fake crying, the crying with no tears, the pretending to really be hurt type of a deal, and like the tucking of the chin. The doctor, what's her face? The whatever her name was, where you tuck your chin and gives you like a voice like this. And see, I can do it too, but there's no tears. I can mimic crying. I do it, of course, really dramatically, because no one really cry like that. But you get the point. You get the crying like the woman did in the video there, but with no tears, because it's all performative for these parents. And with their short haircuts, and they get to walk around and be like, "It's so hard for me. It's so hard for me. It's hard for me." I don't understand why people deny that this exists, because it does. This is no different. Parents all the time force their kids into certain things, into certain activities, into certain hobbies, into certain whatevers. You see it, and you can't deny it, because parents do it all the time. They'll force their kid into sports. They'll force their kid into watching certain TV shows or cartoons that the parent enjoyed doing, that they want their kid to enjoy too. So the kid doesn't necessarily have a point of reference on any of these things, but the parent just sort of thrusts them into it, makes them do it until they like it, type of a deal. So I don't understand why people wouldn't think that this wouldn't also apply to this trans identity stuff, because you have to understand that you get those dads who are like super obsessed with sports, or like super obsessed with baseball, super obsessed with football or hockey. These people are super obsessed with this identity politics, identity ideology, trans, non-binary stuff. They're as obsessed with it, if not more so, than these parents out there that get criticized, and sometimes rightfully so, for forcing their kids into sports or into, activities and drama clubs and all that kind of stuff. It's the same. The difference is, I would argue that forcing your kid to play baseball is a lot less harmful than forcing your kid to be confused about their entire existence. I would argue that. I would argue that one is way worse than the other. so much worse. One of them, the kid at least probably gets some level of hand-eye coordination that's going to help them later on in life. The other is the kid is going to be more likely to be pushed into a demographic that has a almost 50% suicidality. Which one's worse? Have people actually tried to delete themselves because they played baseball when they didn't want to? Or have more people try to delete themselves or have successfully deleted themselves because they changed genders at a young age and instantly regretted it, but now there's no turning back because choppy the pee-pee. I think we really got to start holding these people accountable and start calling it out. Even if you're somebody who's like, yeah, trans people are, 100% real from the moment they're born, blah, 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 blah. It's not learned. It's nature, not nurture, blah, blah. You should still be holding parents who are so blatantly pushing their kids towards it accountable. You should. But those are just my thoughts. I want to see your thoughts in the comment section. Leave a thumbs up on this video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's share this video with people that we know on your social media, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Send it around. You can subscribe right there at my chin with that logo that popped up. And then there's going to be 2 recommended videos on either side of my head that YouTube themselves feel like you personally would enjoy based upon your own personal algorithms and interests that you've searched up on YouTube. Isn't that creepy that they know that? I think it is. See you next time.